everybody. It is Tuesday, October 24th, 2023. Welcome to episode 63 of the Old Men Magic podcast. Thank you very much for joining us. Since our last episode, so much has happened in the world of Magic the Gathering. First off, draft and set boosters are no more. Did you know that, Alex?
Oof, yes, I saw that. Yes.
Play boosters now rule the day. The community is in disarray. There's been lots of Universes Beyond news hitting the airwaves. The new Fallout cards have started to be spoiled, and just yesterday, they announced that the Marvel Universe is now coming to the world of MTG. But we have not gathered to discuss any of those matters today. Instead, to celebrate the holiday season, we have gathered here today to discuss zombies, Alex. Zombies.
Right.
We're going to begin a review of pre-modern zombies. What zombies are out there? What zombies do you need to make sure you sleeve up into your 60-card deck? We're also going to discuss some utility zombie cards, some non-zombie cards that you probably still need to put into your zombie deck. And if 100-card singleton formats are more your thing, we're also going to have a look at a few old frame zombie commanders. But first, we have some follow-ups.
Wow.
Alex, there are a couple of things you wanted to talk about that we didn't necessarily talk about in last episode, but they have come up multiple times in previous episodes. One was a dumb combo. You named it. I'm not calling it a dumb combo. I'm not saying your combos
those
are
are
dumb.
my words for sure. Yeah.
You wrote that you wanted to talk about your dumb combo.
Yeah. I was talking a while ago about a card, Artificial Evolution, and a few of the other cards that change creature types and text on cards. And I was talking about turning things into walls, which I realized a lot of people probably already realize this, but that does nothing now. So I was talking about, you could turn a creature into a wall so it couldn't attack. But the only thing that matters is that a card has Defender on it. So all old walls now have Defender. And Defender is the thing that prevents them from attacking. So when we played, it was the actual creature type wall that made them unable to attack.
There's no walls?
There's still walls, but all walls have Defender, and all old walls now have a Rata to have Defender on them.
What if I look up trusty old Wall of Stone? Wall of Stone. What do you say nowadays? Here's a newer one. This is the 8th edition one. Creature wall. But here on the Oracle text, it says card text Defender. This creature can attack.
So whether or not you change something into a wall or not into a wall doesn't really matter. You have to somehow remove or add the Defender ability to the creature text.
What was your plan with this Artificial Evolution? I couldn't remember what Artificial Evolution is. Probably a lot of other people don't know what it is either. It's a 1 blue casting cost instant from Onslaught. Change the text of target spell or permanent by replacing all instances of one creature type with another. The new creature type can't be legend or wall.
Yeah. And this isn't really a combo I was like advocating playing with. I was just pointing out
dumb combo. You did say it was dumb, so you're upfront about that. Yeah.
I was pointing out that if you use this card on another card that has that legend or wall prohibition at the bottom, you could change that text on the other card. You know what I mean? So you could use this to change how other cards work, and then now maybe they could turn things into walls when previously they were prohibited from doing so.
Okay.
I just pointed that out because I thought it was interesting, but then I found out that it doesn't matter, the wall thing. So I just wanted to follow up with the wall thing. And
the thing
have Defender.
The thing I like about this card is it reminds me of Grab People episode from South Park. That's all.
I do like this card though. I feel like there's a few neat things you could do with it.
You played it in a deck against me, right?
Yeah, I have it in. I splashed it into a Cleric deck
Yeah, it pissed me off. I can't remember what you did, but it was very irritating. It had something to do with Cabal Archon, I think. And I think you changed something in the Clerics and then threw it at me with the Archon or dampening it, something like that.
Well, I have a few things that it can work on in there. There's one of them is the I forget what the cleric's name is now. He's a zombie cleric.
Rotlung
Like,
Reanimator.
yeah, Rotlung Reanimator. So you could change the text on that card to say something instead of like you could make it trigger upon a different creature type dying, or you could make the tokens that come into play a different creature type of tokens. So you can do things like that.
There's artificial evolution. You also had another update. Very brief update on casting things from the exile zone to pre-modern situations. We've talked many times about how back in our day, when something was exiled, that was it. But we know there's a lot more interaction with the exile zone these days, but we don't yet know what it is.
Yeah, we've seen it in like some modern
works.
A few things have spiked or become hot because like they interact with things in the exile zone. You can bring things in, and it triggers other cards' abilities. But two things I've found now from pre-modern that involve the exile zone, because there's not as much. One is madness. The madness mechanic, as you know, it triggers when something makes you discard a card, and then you can play it for the madness cost. But the way the ruling on madness is worded, it says if a player would discard this card, that player discards it, but exiles it instead of putting it into their graveyard. When it's exiled this way, the owner may cast it by paying cost rather than paying its mana cost. So basically, you exile it from your hand, and then you can cast it from the exile zone, and if you don't, it goes into the graveyard. So
okay, so that's learning more about how the madness mechanic actually functions. I didn't realize. I mean, I knew you could pitch a card and then pay it for its alternative casting cost, but I didn't know when you played a card for its madness cost, it actually passed through the exile zone.
Yeah, I didn't realize that either.
I'm sure that's very important mechanically in some instances.
The other one I found was sorry, while we were talking about madness, I just wanted to point out you have this page up. It was on there somewhere, but it should be at the top, I think. They rate madness on the storm scale. Remember we've talked about the storm scale before? Is it on there?
I can find it.
I don't see it. I thought it was like in the border, like in the border column. But anyways, I think it said, yeah, here it is. It's at the top. Storm scale 8.
Why can't I find that?
10. Huh?
Oh, there we go. Storm scale 8.
Yeah. Which I thought was weird because they've reprinted madness cards very recently.
Yeah, and it says last used March of the Machine, the Aftermath. That was not that long ago.
Yeah. Now I guess like storm scale might, only be relating to certain, formats, like I guess standard specifically. So if they're releasing cards for something like Commander, maybe it wouldn't really apply or whatever. But I just thought it was interesting that the storm scale on this card was so high, or on this ability was so high. I mean, I don't know. But the other instance I found was one of our favorite cards, Grinning Totem. The way Grinning Totem works now.
Will I find this if I go to the Gatherer? Yeah. Is there information in the Oracle text?
Yeah.
Grinning Totem.
Sacrifice Grinning Totem, search target opponent's library for a card and exile it. Until the beginning of your next upkeep, you may play that card from the exile zone. So,
is that how it reads in the time spiral? In the not time spiral. Is this time shifted? Is that what it's called?
I've gotten
time spiral quotes time shifted. Is that how it reads if you were to purchase this copy? Search target opponent's library for a card and remove it from the game.
No, it still has the old.
So it still says that. It's just the Oracle text on Gatherer.
Yeah.
Changes it to exile. Okay, then. You're exiling with Grinning Totem. I wonder if there's any weird things you can do.
Yeah, that's the only problem, is that I don't think with pre-modern cards
I'm
there are
still
too
here, don't
many-
worry.
I'm sorry, what?
I'm still here, don't worry, keep going.
Yeah, I know your fault. Yeah, I don't think, I know in modern there's stuff that works like that, but I haven't really come across anything else in pre-modern. If I do, I'll bring it up, but I don't know if there's too many opportunities to really screw around with that fact.
Alex, it's been a long time since I forgot to plug my computer in before we started.
Oh,
I've been doing good for like probably like 20, 30 episodes.
yeah.
And I plugged in one of my computers this time. I didn't plug in both. There we go. Got that juice running. That juice is running again.
Gotta have the
The
juice.
juice is loose through my Lenovo laptop that was gifted to us by a very generous benefactor.
Mr. Havisham.
Makes
you.
this
Shout out.
making everything possible for us. That was the second update.
Second update.
Alex's brief update on casting things from the Exile Zone.
We'll have more. If I find any more, I'll let you know about the Exile Zone.
Another follow-up. I have a follow-up, and it's actually something that arose from episode 62, just the previous episode where we talked about the Keepers. I made a post on Twitter and Threads about the Keepers. It was about Keeper of Light specifically. Somebody responded to that post, and it was actually the originator of the rock, Sol Malka. He responded to that post, pointed out that this is something I totally forgot. It slipped my mind when we were talking about the Keepers. The Keepers aren't the only underdog cards in Exodus. I call them underdog cards. Others call them underdog cards because they give you some benefit, or they have some effect when you have less of some resource than your opponent.
Oh, okay.
There's also the oath cycle.
Of druids.
Yeah, so when we were talking about the Keepers, I was completely forgetting, like I wasn't putting two and two together, but the Keepers are like essentially a weaker version of the oath spells.
Okay.
Which is a cycle also in Exodus. Yeah, and the oaths are rares, and they're more powerful, and they're enchantments, they're hard to get rid of. The Keepers are uncommons, they're creatures, they're easier to eliminate from the board, they cost more.
So now the question is, what other cards in Exodus are there that make use of that deficit between you and your opponent's permanents?
I don't know. I don't know if there's more. I looked into this on MTG Wiki, and I found there's 2 cycles listed, and it's the Keeper cycle and the Oath cycle. I think those are the only 2 cycles in Exodus. There might have been a mega cycle.
Yeah, well, even not direct. I didn't mean like the same ability directly, just like cards that might have synergy with
complement it.
Yeah. Cards that might allow you to play like a low number of creature deck, or a low number of land deck, or whatever.
I never see them run together in decks, though. I see various decks built around the oath. So people just don't bother with the Keepers as much. But also, somebody else responded to my Keeper post on Twitter, and they were like, I don't remember ever seeing this card. Now I really want to build around it. So I responded to him. I was like, please do, because I was trashing this card to my buddy and saying it was the worst of the cycle. It was about Keeper of Light specifically. So like, if you break it, I want to see the list, and I will eat crow, because I'm interested to see how somebody could build a strong deck around that card. I'm sure there's ways to do it.
They're talking specifically about the healing one, the white one.
Keeper
okay.
Specifically.
Yeah. I like that one a little more than you, but
you liked it.
Yeah.
But again, I said when we were talking about the Keeper cycle, I'm a very simple man. Now that I've come back to Magic, what I like to do is I like to play a creature and turn it sideways. So it was Keeper of the Beast that I was like, oh, great, look, I can generate creatures and turn them sideways or sacrifice them.
I still thought that was interesting. That was an interesting one, though, too, especially because it made beasts. So,
yeah.
Anyways, but we talked.
Anyways, that's the end of our follow-ups. Let's get right into segment 1. Segment 1, we're going to review pre-modern zombie creatures. I'm calling this the A team, the zombie A team. These are the creatures that I'd consider putting into any pre-modern zombie deck that I built. So according to Scryfall, there are 126 cards where the card type includes zombie and the card is legal in pre-modern. But we ain't talking about all 126. We ain't got time for that shit. Nobody does. It's late here.
We have brain teeth.
I have to get to bed. Look at Alex. He's sitting in the dark. It's nighttime. We got started late today. We gotta move through this quick. I'm gonna ignore what I think are the weaker zombies. I'm gonna focus on what I believe are the most playable zombies. If you want to make a competitive 60-card zombie deck, what are you sleeving up? I'm starting with the 1-drops because that seems like a reasonable place to start to me. First 1-drop zombie that's pre-modern legal that I want to talk about is Carnage.
Mm-hmm.
Carnage is a common from Exodus. What were you going to say, Alex?
Nothing. I was just going to talk about it.
Oh. I was also going to talk about it. Let's talk about it. Carnage is a common from Exodus. Casting costs a 1 black, summon zombie. During your upkeep, pay 1 life or tap Carnage. Has a rating of 4.348 on Gatherer. Current market price of 25 cents. This card is a staple of Suicide Black decks. It's a staple in pre-modern zombie decks. I think it's a lovely little 1-drop that is everything you want a 1-drop in black to be. I'm a big fan.
Very high rating.
It is a very high rating. Not many cards out there that are above 4.3.
I like its teeth.
It's great art. It's disturbing art. It very much looks like an old school Magic card, not the kind of thing that you expect to see in today's Magic.
Yeah, this could be from Legends or the Dark.
Yeah. But I like Carnage a lot. You got any opinion?
Yes, it's like you said, it's definitely, you know, a staple, I think, and used. It comes up right away when you like start looking at pre-modern zombie stuff. Like what you said, Suicide too, like using it for things like sacrifice or just as like a you know, suicide attack or a chump blocker. Just great mana value. For some reason, I kind of like want to skip past it a little bit just because there's so many other zombies, and I'm like, you know, you sometimes have multiple things that are chipping into your life. So I try to keep them to a minimum, but I do have this in at least 1 deck I'm messing with right now. And yeah, great mana value. So
that is true. There are so many cards in black that can do damage to your opponent above rate, above what their casting cost, you know, normally provides. But that also do some damage to you. And you got to pick and choose which ones you want to go with. You know, you can't just load your deck with stuff like that because you will kill yourself more consistently. You know, we say Suicide Black, but the idea is not to suicide yourself 90% of the time.
You do want to win the game.
You can't go overboard. That's that's Carnage. Very elegant black card design. The next one I want to talk about, also a 1-drop. A little bit more unusual. Carrion Feeder. Carrion Feeder is a common from Scourge. It is 1 black, summon zombie, 1/1. Carrion Feeder can't block. Sacrifice a creature. Cost, activated ability. Put a +1/+1 counter on Carrion Feeder. It has a rating of 4.354 on Gatherer, also very high. Current market price of $1.57, which when we're talking Scourge commons, that's like $1 billion.
My, oh my.
This thing is really cool. So if it can survive, if it's not blasted off the board, if other things are blasted off the board instead, it can convert any dying creature into a 1/1 counter for itself.
Yeah, and more than one at a time too. You don't have to like tap it to do that. So
exactly,
you know,
just feed in. It's a sack outlet if you need a sack outlet, which sometimes you need those. It's a sack outlet with an upside. It doesn't just allow you to sacrifice something you might want to sacrifice. It also gives itself a benefit. It's great fun with tokens. Black has plenty of ways to generate tokens. Generate token creatures, just feed them all into Carrion Feeder.
Sing your autocrat.
Sing your autocrat. I can't
I'm going to use
remember.
that. I put it in one deck so far. I have Carrion Feeder in a few, by the way, also because I do like this a lot. There's just I could see it getting really big. And like you said, you can creatures that are already on their way out of play. You can just use them, turn them into counters.
That's right. Surf tokens comes into play. Generate 3 surf tokens. Feed them to Carrion Feeder.
I saw someone mention this in comments. It was about a different card actually. And I was like, oh, someone else wants to use Singular Autocrat. Oh my gosh. Death Pit Offering. Have you ever seen that card? Cool name. It's from Nemesis.
And it's not ringing a bell. Death Pit Offering.
Yeah. It's an enchantment. 2 black, 2 colorless. When Death Pit Offering comes into play, sacrifice all creatures you control, but then it gives creatures you control +2/+2.
Okay. So everything you play after, all
Yeah.
creatures you would play after Death Pit Offering hits
Yes.
the board.
Yeah.
Get +2/+2.
Yeah. So you either play it really early, or you reserve your creatures, or just use it as a graveyard filling board wipe, when you have stuff that can bring stuff back or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So this is pretty neat. I just found this card this week, and I'm gonna try to play with it a little bit.
Same artist who Pete Venters also illustrated Carn
Oh,
Feeder.
really? Wow. Hey, what a coincidence.
Similar mouth there.
Yeah, he likes those teeth.
Very sinewy also.
But yeah, if you play a Singular Autocrat after you have this down, now you have a 4/4 and 3 2/3s.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do, Alex. But that's Carrion Feeder. That's Death Pit Offering. Carrion Feeder is a very interesting card. And I think great fun in combination with the next card I want to talk about. Which when I first saw this card and I saw Drown News Crusade, I was like, oh man, I got to make a Gaboo deck. I got to make a Gaboo. But I have not made Gaboo because unfortunately there are just not many zombie goblins in Premodern. Actually, I think this is the only zombie goblin in Premodern. But there are multiple zombie goblins. And actually, Alex, I do on Moxfield have a modern deck built. It's the only modern deck I've built so far. And it is called Gaboo. And it's just it's a zombie goblin deck. And I built it in Modern because there's like 5 or 6 zombie goblins in Modern. Haven't played it yet though. Did I say what this card is? It's Festering Goblin.
I think you said the name, but
okay. And then I got lost in Gaboo. It's a common from Onslaught. It is a 1-drop. We're still on the 1-drops. It's Summon Zombie Goblin, aka Gaboo. When Festering Goblin is put into a graveyard from play, target creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn. So I brought this up after Carrion Feeder because you can feed this guy to the Carrion Feeder, pump your Carrion Feeder, and take away 1 point of power and toughness from an opponent's creature.
Guys together in a deck.
I like this guy because he's an eye for an eye against any manimals. If you're playing anybody with manimals on the other side, they might want.
A lot like Mog Fanatic.
He is. It's like it's a neutered. Unless I'm thinking of it wrong, it seems to me like a neutered.
Yeah, the problem with it is that Mog Fanatic, you have total control over the ability, and this you have to wait for it to get killed. Plus, downside is if they don't have any creatures, you're going to have to do it to one of your own creatures.
Exactly. I made note of that. You must target a creature. It's in the rulings. So there's a potential you get 2 for 1. If you have out a Festering Goblin and then another 1/1 creature. Or even, let's say, you have a 2/2 creature. You don't get 2 for 1, but you've lost your Festering Goblin if they blow them off the board, and you've neutered your 2/2. You've made your 2/2 a 1/1. Terrible.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm trying to. This is another one that I'm trying to maybe use sparingly because I'm worried about that downside. But in something like a deck with some graveyard action, might not be so bad. Even if you have to accidentally kill some of your own creatures or whatever, you're churning them back out. So
yeah, I was more excited about it when I first saw it, and I still like it. It's still a good card, but I do worry about that downside. I just find myself playing a lot of 1/1s. in a lot of decks. And I don't want my Festering Goblin to blow them off the board. That'd be terrible. Is it rating a 4 on Gatherer? Still very high, not as high as the other cards we've talked about so far. Current market price of 14 cents. Very cheap. We have more 1-drops, Alex. This is one that I had not seen until I started searching through the 126 pre-modern legal goblins. When I was reviewing the 1-drops, I came across Entrails Feaster. Cute little
Yeah,
cat.
I've seen this. Oh yeah, it's a cat.
Looks so unassuming. Next minute. Feasting on entrails. 1 black creature zombie cat. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may remove a creature card in a graveyard from the game. If you do, put a +1/+1 counter on Entrails Feaster. That sounds good. That's pretty sweet. I mean, it's not like going to dominate metas or anything, but I'm liking where this is going. Then you read the next sentence, still a cool card, but not quite as cool. If you don't feed a dead body to Entrails Feaster, you have to tap Entrails Feaster.
Yeah.
It has a rating of 3.789 on Gatherer, current market price of 38 cents.
Yeah, definitely good because you can do it to your opponent's graveyard creatures. Yeah, you just have to make sure you can keep using it.
Can eat creatures in any graveyard. I like that. So I think it looks, I wrote more fun. Looks more fun in Commander.
Oh yeah,
You're going to have more people, more dead bodies to eat. Probably. It's not a reliable blocker or an attacker. That's what's kind of rough for me because it could be tapped at any time. I saw that it says A, so I'm thinking it works this way. You may remove a creature card in a graveyard from the game. So when I read that, it means you can only do this like once each turn, right?
Yes.
A creature card, yeah. So it's fun. It's a fun card, but I don't think this guy makes it in any 60 card decks I'm building. Maybe it'll make it. Maybe it would make it into a commander deck. You just got to run 100 cards, and you can't have more than one of any card. Maybe Entrails Feaster makes it in there, just for shits and giggles, just for fun. But I like it.
I'm looking this up, and there's no ruling on that on the number of times per upkeep you can use it.
I didn't see
still that it's 1, but now I'm a little more curious that you brought it up.
That's I looked too. I didn't see anything, but when I read it, it looks to me like it just means 1. You can do it once a turn.
Yeah.
And once an upkeep. So I say once a turn, but it's not like you can do it once every turn if you're in a 4-player commander game or anything. It's your upkeep.
Yeah.
So once on your turn. So far, my least favorite 1-drop we've talked about.
Yeah, you probably have to plan around it pretty hard. It's not going to make it into as many decks.
This next one, also not going to make it into just like any standard zombie deck I run. It's more deck specific, more mechanic specific, more gameplay style specific, but very interesting. And Alex, you love imps.
Oh.
This one is Putrid Imp. It's a common from Torment. Casting costs a 1 black. Summon Zombie Imp. It is 1/1. You discard a card from your hand. Cost, activated ability. Putrid Imp gains flying until end of turn. Whoopity do. I've lost a card. I've given my 1/1 flying. Whoopity friggin' do. Threshold. Putrid Imp gets +1/+1 and can't block. So
still
it also
kind
has
of whoopity-doo.
threshold. It has a rating of 4.209 on Gather. Current market price of 37 cents. I found that this is highly rated, not because of its incredible utility in a zombie deck, but because this is huge in reanimator decks and can do sick things in reanimator decks.
That's what I have it in. I've used this in 1 or 2 black decks to feed cards to my graveyard.
Some people pointed out, you look on the comments on Gather, they're like, they really, really shouldn't have let you discard cards for free on a 1-drop. Because yeah, you just need
Yeah.
1 mana and then you're dropping from your hand whatever you want to drop on turn 1 and then potentially reanimating on that same turn. This person, Laguz, all the way back in 2010, said it enables first turn reanimator tricks. Example, play a swamp, tap, play a dark ritual, play Putrid Imp, discard a Chroma, Angel of Wrath, cast Soul Exchange, sack Imp, play a Chroma, swing for 6. So first turn a Chroma. And I totally forgot about Soul Exchange. I know a Chroma is a card that people have talked about as a reanimator target, but because it has protection from black, you can't animate dead it. So you can't get it back from your graveyard using all of the common reanimation cards. You have to use just specific ones, I think, if I'm thinking correctly.
I forgot about that, and now I'm confused.
Why are you confused?
I don't know. I thought the protection from black ability would only be like while it was in play, right? Because it's like an ability of the card.
Well, did I say animate dead? I'm talking specifically about animate dead, which is an enchantment.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I see where you're going then with Animate Dead. Yeah, because Animate Dead has a really funky way that it works and all sorts of new wording on it.
I think the way Animate Dead would work with a creature with pro black is you would bring it back into
and then
play.
The enchantment would like get destroyed because it couldn't go on to the I see what you mean. Yeah.
But I completely forgot about Soul Exchange, which is a card from Fallen Empires.
Yeah.
2 black sorcery. You sacrifice a creature, but remove it from the game instead of putting it in your graveyard. You take a creature from your graveyard and put it directly into play as though it would just summoned. Put a +2/+2 on this creature if the creature sacrifice was a thrall. So if you sacrifice your Putrid Imp to bring back a Chroma, it doesn't get that whole +2/+2 because it's not a thrall, but who gives a shit?
Doesn't matter. Yeah.
I should pick up some Soul Exchanges.
Yeah, me too. This would be good in some of the reanimation need decks I've been working on.
Completely forgot by me. Completely forgot Soul Exchange.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
So those are the 1-drops that I have.
I've been using for like bigger creatures to cheat out. One of them I've been using is Visara the Dreadful or Avatar of Woe. Those would both work nicely with this. Although, oh wait, never mind. The reason a Chroma already has haste. This doesn't give anything haste that wouldn't have it already. Okay.
Chroma?
The haste aspect.
Angel of Wrath. Flying, first strike, trample, haste, protection from black, protection from red, and doesn't tap when it attacks. Okay. Amazing 1-drops in the pre-modern zombie category, in my opinion. Lots of good cards there. Lots of good cards just in a standard zombie deck. Lots of interesting cards to do other things with. Like if you want to do reanimation shenanigans. On to the 2-drops.
Can I just add one thing I was going to say about Putrid Imp? I forgot. Also works good with madness cards because you get to cast them with the madness cost by discarding them on purpose. Okay, sorry.
Yes. No apologies, Alex. This is your show too. You can say whatever you want to say. 2-drops. Now, if you're done interrupting me, Alex, can I move on to the 2-drops? You're not interrupting. Flag Bearer. You keep apologizing. If you apologize, if you ask permission to say something on the show and then you apologize after you said, people are going to think I'm abusing you or something off the air.
Well, but if I just interrupt you
like
without saying like I'm sorry for interrupting you, then
Plague Bearer. Plague Bearer is the first 2-drop I'm going to talk about.
We talked about this before.
We did.
The art is so crazy.
We had differing opinions on Plague Bearer.
Yeah.
I enjoy this card very much. It is a rare from Exodus. It has a casting cost of 1 colorless, 1 black. Summon zombie. It's a crazy frog zombie humans frog thingy. Puke and acid and gas right into a human's face and melting his fucking face off like the Nazi in Raiders of the Lost Ark. It is 1/1. You can pay cost X colors black activated ability. Destroy target non-black creature with total casting cost equal to 0. It has a rating of 4.444 on Gatherer. They stopped at 3 digits, but I think the real rating is 4.4444444444444. Current market price of $1.05. I love this guy because it's a repeatable mana eater.
Oh yeah, okay.
You know, X colors black sounds like a lot, but there are so many just obnoxious 1-drops.
Yeah, that's true. It is a good 1-drop clear
that are always on the board. You clear them 1-drops with the Plague Bearer. You spit acid gas in the face of every Birds of Paradise who's on the battlefield. You spit acid gas in the face of all these fancy elves prancing around, tapping themselves for mana. And it's also a Dreadnought Destroyer. I love that. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Dreadnought, 1 casting cost.
I didn't think
pain
about
in the
that.
ass. All the rage now in pre-modern. I say now, it's been the rage for a really long time. It wasn't all the rage when I first pulled them out of pack. We first saw them in Mirage. It was like, oh, this is pretty sweet, but what are we going to do with it? There was Vision Charm around, but it was hard to build like a Dreadnought deck that was consistent enough with just Vision Charm. But I say that there was also Reality Ripple and Mirage. We just didn't think much about how to build around the Dreadnought. I don't know when people started consistently building around the Dreadnought, but they have been doing it for a very long time. It's currently one of the most dominant decks in pre-modern, and it has been a dominant deck in many formats for a while. Plague Bearer can get rid of it for 3 casting costs.
Yeah, and you can get the Plague Bearer out very fast too. So you can get out first turn.
Tokens, we don't play in a world where there's a lot of tokens. So, I mean, there's still tokens. I don't know why I said that. Takes out tokens for just 1 black.
Now, that's another good thing I hadn't considered. Yeah. And since it doesn't tap, now you can just waste like 3 or 4 tokens with 3 or 4 mana.
Yes. And another thing that I didn't consider, the first time I saw Plague Bearer, I loved it. But since Red, somebody pointed out, and I'm like, oh, yes. Also takes out main lands for just 1 black.
Oh, okay.
If you activate a main land. 3 black. I said 1 black. 3 black. Tap 3 black. Blow it off the board.
Wait. Why 3 black now? What do you mean?
Well, I don't know why I'm saying 3 black. 3 mana. 1 black and then 2x. No, 1 black.
Yeah,
I was right the first time.
Still, it would be 0 casting cost because it's a land.
I was right the first time, Alex. Yeah. Just 1 black. Like I said.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah. Just blow up some Mishra's factories or.
Yeah. And I mean, there are blue-white control decks still that have land still, I think, does most of its damage with friggin' factories and stuff,
And why I see the green man land pop up a lot and the blue one a little bit in some deck lists online. So this would be good for that. You're right. Yeah, you're winning me over on the Plague Bearer.
It's about damn time. I think it's a pretty good card. It is a 1/1, so it's fragile itself, but
yeah, but it's cheap. Its casting cost is right. It has the right, you know what I mean? It has a good casting cost, and then with zombie synergy effects, like hopefully it'll be a little more survivable.
Yeah, later in the game, if you don't have it in your opening hand, you get it later in the game. It could be a 2/2, and it's best if they're putting out manimals, elves, Birds of Paradise. It's best to clear them off the board as soon as possible. But there have been plenty of games that I've been playing where, they get to do the damn thing with their manimals. They get the ramp out of them early game. You couldn't clear them off the board. But still, if you get a chance to get rid of them in like turns 5, 6, 7, still have great benefit sometimes. Because that, getting rid of those can allow you to then catch up and then sometimes overtake your opponent.
And even though the Plague Bearer is fragile, like you can get it out and immediately use its ability, even if they're going to destroy it, or use its ability in response if they're going to destroy it. So you still get to use it. Or then, you put your zombie stuff that pumps it down. It'll only be vulnerable for a short amount of time, and you get the stuff down to pump it, turns 2, 3, 4, etc. Yeah, okay. I'll play with this.
Yes. I'm putting it in my zombie deck. I mean, it's not going to be a 4 of, but I just feel like there's so many times when if it can survive, if it can last on the board, there's going to be so many things it can do a lot of the time. Next, 2-drop. Premodern Legal Zombie. It's one you mentioned. You said, Steve, are we going to talk about this one? Are we going to talk about this one? I said, yes, Alex, don't worry. Apprentice Necromancer is on the list. It is a rare from Urza's Destiny. Casting cost is 1 colorless, 1 black. Summon Zombie Wizard. It just says creature wizard here, but trust me, you look on Gatherer, it is now a zombie wizard. It is 1/1. You can pay 1 black and tap. Sacrifice Apprentice Necromancer. Cost. : activated ability. Return target creature card from your graveyard to play. That creature gains haste. At end of turn, sacrifice it.
Yeah, so it's like a shallow grave effect.
Yeah, it is Shallow Grave on a stick. What's the casting cost of Shallow Grave? Is it also 1 colorless, 1 black?
1 colorless, I think.
It's friggin' Shallow Grave on a stick. Gatherer rating of 4.085. Current market price of $3.33. Urza's block rare. Similar to Putrid Imp.
Last year, and then I kind of forgot about it.
Similar to Putrid Imp. I think, this gets attention not because it's a zombie, but because of its utility in Reanimator. I saw some examples people mentioned on Gatherer here. Turn 1, Swamp, Dark Ritual, Apprentice Necromancer, Entomb Protean Hulk. So turn 1, you got a Protean Hulk in your graveyard. Turn 2, Swamp, sacrifice Apprentice Necromancer, return Protean Hulk to the battlefield, hit for 6, sacrifice it in the turn, search for 4 times Gravecrawler, 1 times Apprentice Necromancer, put it onto the battlefield. So anyways, they get into the cards that I don't know here, but the point is you can use your little swamp, your trusty Dark Ritual, and Apprentice Necromancer to start doing some funky graveyard things on just turn 1.
Oh, you just tap them though.
Son of a bitch. Turn 2.
But yeah, I like this, and I have it because of the haste thing and like not removing from the game. I'm back to now like Avatar of Woe and Visara the Dreadful that I mentioned before, because you can pull them out, tap them to destroy a creature because they have haste. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, both Avatar of Woe and Visara the Dreadful can tap to destroy a creature. So
this person mentioned sacrificing Apprentice Necromancer, bringing Protean Hulk to the battlefield, hitting for 6, sacrificing end of turn, searching for 1x Apprentice Necromancer and 4x Gravecrawler. I don't know what Gravecrawler is.
Gravecrawler can't block. You may cast Gravecrawler from your graveyard as long as you control a zombie.
1 black. Gravecrawler can't block. You may cast Gravecrawler from your graveyard as long as you control a zombie.
Cool. So now you can be like, yeah, those things are just going to keep churning. You're attacking with them or using the Necromancer ability on them, and then you just keep bringing them back into play as more fodder for the Necromancer. That's pretty cool.
It is. Look at this. Look at this has spiked multiple times in the last 4 years, up to $20, and then come back down.
I like the flavor of this card, like what it's called and what the art is and what it does, because it's like this endless wave of crawling zombies. They can't block, but they just keep like, destroying themselves kamikaze zombie style.
Pretty nasty. We are in the old frame zombie world, but if we were in the new frame zombie world,
yeah, I definitely put this in the deck. Plus, it's 2/1. What the hell? It's not even a 1/1.
you know, power creep and stuff. Casting 2/1/1 drops from your graveyard over and over and over again.
I just rediscovered this card from Alliance's Casting of Bones. I'm taking you on a tangent here.
I see this card in decks sometimes, but I can't remember what it does.
I have it in with Apprentice Necromancer.
2 colorless, 1 black, enchant creature. If enchanted creature is put into the graveyard, draw 3 cards. Choose and discard one of those cards.
Yeah. So going back to like what was the Carrion Feeder, having that in your deck, or having Apprentice Necromancer, now you have like a super reliable way of destroying the creature that you have enchanted. Or if it's, you can always cast it on your opponent's creature before you like tear it or whatever.
Yeah.
So pretty good card draw as long as you can, get it done reliably, I think.
Is it a gorilla with a tooth for a pinky?
I think they're wearing a glove.
I think it's a gorilla. I think it's a gorilla.
Or it's like shriveled, like frostbitten black flesh.
I think it might be a gorilla necromancer. Remember, there were a lot of gorillas in Alliances.
There are, but they're in black. I don't think there's
Whether
any
whole
black.
or not, still we serve Limdol's wishes. Cheska, keeper of Treasure Horn.
Let's find out who Cheska is.
Cheska is. Cheska.
Gorilla.
A gorilla necromancer. Anyways.
No Cheska card, apparently. Search for it.
Come on, people, get on it. You're busy, Cheska's in here in the flavor text of a card from the 90s, over 20 years ago. You still haven't brought us a Cheska Planeswalker, a Cheska Commander, a Cheska Legendary Creature. You're out here paying Marvel in Stan Lee's estate $100 billion so you could put Captain America on a Magic card.
Can't come up
Make a
with
Cheska.
any ideas. We have these ideas from Alliances. So by the way, Keeper of Treasurehorn is a card from Alliances, but it doesn't say Cheska anywhere on it. So I don't know if that means that there's multiple Keeper of Treasurehorns, or Cheska is the name of the Keeper of Treasurehorn.
Is the Keeper of Treasurehorn, does it look like a gorilla necromancer?
Black hand.
Okay, it's not a gorilla
gloved?
necromancer. It looks like a guy with a glove. Black glove.
Looks like one of those like Mad Max dudes.
This is really cool art. I remember this art. I didn't remember the card, but I remember the art.
Yeah, I remember how it had like those like black parenthesis blobs.
And it's a keeper, but nothing like the keepers that we talked about last episode.
Yeah, different keeper here.
Okay, I got lost in a Protean Hulk sauce.
Way off track here.
Next 2-drop. That was the second 2-drop zombie. That's pre-modern legal. We're going to talk about the third 2-drop zombie. Cabal Interrogator. Remember, we're not talking about all the zombies. These are just the 2-drops that I wanted to highlight. Cabal Interrogator.
I remember the picture.
Very nice art. Very nice color scheme. Uncommon from Scourge. 1 colorless, 1 black. Summon Zombie Wizard. It is 1/1. Pay X colorless, 1 black. Tap. Target player reveals X cards from his or her hand, and you choose one of them. That player discards that card. Play this ability only anytime you can play a sorcery. It has a rating of 3.946 on Gather. Current market price 15 cents.
Very good.
I wrote sick ability, of course. But if they have any removal, this guy's gone.
Yeah, it's a target right away. But it's only 2 casting costs, so you know. In most zombie decks, you're probably just blasting down a lot of stuff. Some of it's gonna get targeted, and you're probably like, "Oh, I don't care," because I have more
And you
stuff
know
coming.
what? That's just Magic. You know,
Yeah.
things get blown off the board. It's not a
Well,
reason
you know,
not to play something
they
because
wanna
it's scary and people will get rid of it.
do they want to waste their 4 removal spells, their 4 swords to plowshares? They want to start wasting them on your little 2 mana 1/1.
Yeah, think about it. You got to think about it.
Tough.
You don't have land tax scroll rack any longer to just keep cycling through your deck and playing Guy's Blessings to bring back all your swords to plowshares and then finding them again. You can't do that anymore. You got to think about.
Yeah.
Do you want a sword to Cabal Interrogator?
This guy's like a duress on a stick, kind of.
I was gonna say it is a duress on a stick, but duress is more limited than this too. Duress, you can only pull certain types of cards. I don't know why I'm blanking on duress.
I can't remember exactly either.
It's 1 black.
Yeah.
And you have to remove like a non-land, non-something. I don't remember. Target opponent reveals his or her hand. You choose a non-creature, non-land card from it.
Okay.
Here it was any card, right?
Yeah. But you have to pay more mana.
You choose one of them. Yeah. You can't just see their whole hand without paying X. You have to pay X plus black. Hand size plus black if you want to see.
Yeah. So maybe duress is not the best comparison because you don't really get to see their whole hand.
Discard on a stick. There we go.
Yeah.
Next 2-drop. Shepherd of Rot. Common from Onslaught. Did I pronounce Onslaught weird there? Common from Onslaught. I was burping as I said it. 1 colorless, 1 black. Summon Zombie Cleric. You love them zombie clerics, Alex. It's 1/1. Tap. Each player loses 1 life for each zombie in play. It's a 3.872 on Gatherer. Current market price 57 cents. Solid suicide black card. This does what black should do. I really want a deck that will end the game in a draw like 80-90% of the time.
That's messed up.
And I'm thinking this is a strong contender for that deck.
I mean, if that's what you want, yeah, I would put this card in.
That's all I want. I want to build a deck. I'm just go to LGS, sit down, people start playing. And then just like the first 4 games we play, I want to kill both of us on the same turn. And I just want to keep doing it until they get
And is it like
upset.
slowly dawns on them after like game 3 or 4 that like this is what your deck does on purpose? They're like,
This is
oh my
all
God.
I'm doing every turn. Every
You're sick, Steve. You're sick.
but I think this is a good contender for that deck. And I think this is a just good contender for any zombie deck in general.
Mm-hmm. I haven't tried it yet again because like a little bit dangerous, but in the right deck for sure. Like it'd be awesome. You just have to plan, make sure you have some Zurin orbs or some life gain or something.
This is what zombies should be dangerous. That's how I want to play zombies.
Mm-hmm.
I want them to be dangerous.
And with zombie cleric too, you could be using like Cabal Archons to drain life from your opponent and shift the balance in life. So that's good.
Yep, you can.
Yep, you can.
Next 2-drop. This is a 2-drop that I see get tons of play. In Premodern, Withered Wretch.
Yeah, this is like right at the top of the list, I think, if you look for it.
Uncommon from Legions. This is the time-shifted version, but it's in Legions. 2 colorless. No. 2 black. Summon Zombie Cleric. 2/2. You pay 1 colorless, and you remove target card in a graveyard from the game. 4.365 on Gatherer. Current market price of 32 cents. So, just right off the bat, I mean, a 2/2 for 2 black ain't bad. It's like
it's nice 2-drop for 2.
Grizzly Bear.
2 drop.
Ain't a special ability. I mean, that's my wheelhouse, man. 2 2s for 2 with a special ability. That's my wheel drop.
Meddling Mages.
Like my favorite thing in Magic. You show me a 2/2 for 2 with special ability, I get excited. If you show me a 2/2 for 3 that flies and has first strike, I get excited. Those two things can make sense.
That's a good kit. I would like, yeah. Flying first strike 2/2 for 3. Does that exist? Like
A Thunder
what's Thunder
Spirit.
Spirit cost? 3 or 4?
It's 3. It's 1 colorless, 2 white,
Okay.
2/2 flying first strike. And Sky Spirit is the same too, right? Sky Spirit from Mirage or Visions? Mirage? 1 colorless, 1 white, 1 blue, 2/2 flying first strike. I'm making up the first strike there.
No, flying first strike 2/2.
Okay.
1 blue, 1 colorless.
Mirage?
Yeah, or Tempest.
Tempest. Ah, son of
That's a good card.
I want to make a Thunder Spirit, Sky Spirit, Crusade, Glorious Anthem. I just want. Is there one other creature that's also 2/2 flying first strike for 3 in white or white blue? And I just want to play 12 creatures that are 3 mana, 2/2 flying first strike, and I want to have at least 8 Anthem effects. And that's all I want to do.
That'd be good.
And I want to have 2 moats in that deck too.
You would.
And then 2 Mazes of Ith. And that's it.
But yeah, Withered Wretch, I mean, I feel like if you're playing, either a zombie or cleric deck that's, primarily black, you may as well have at least 1 or 2 of these guys in there, because you can, it's good for screwing with your opponent's graveyard.
Yeah, there are so many decks that, do graveyard shenanigans. So like this guy's just going to be useful. That ability is going to be useful a lot of the time. And if it's not useful when you sit down for a match, then it's not that big of a deal because it's a 2/2 for 2. And it's a zombie.
So it gets
and a cleric.
synergy. Yep.
You're probably going to get some synergy.
Yep.
You're going to get some synergy with this card and the first 3-drop that we're going to talk about right now. The first 3-drop that you're going to want to have in your zombie deck if you're building pre-modern zombies.
Lord Magnus.
Not Lord of Atlantis, not Lord Windgrace, Lord of the Undead. That's the Lord we are here to talk about today. Not our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. It is this blue zombie Lord, the Lord of the Undead, a rare from Plane Chase. 1 colorless, 2 black, 2/2. Summon Lord. All zombies get +1/+1, which is cool. Lord effect. Everybody loves a Lord effect. But in addition to that, you can pay 1 colorless and 1 black and tap this particular Lord to return a target zombie card from your graveyard to your hand. So by the time we hit Plane Chase, it wasn't good enough for your Lords just to pump all of your creatures of one particular type. They had to also have a special ability. It has a rating of 4.3 on Gatherer, current market price of $14.12. So people like this Lord.
Yeah,
this
wow.
is a must include, in my opinion.
That's expensive.
In a pre-modern zombie deck. It is expensive too. Especially when you think, okay, what are people going to do with this? They're going to play it in a zombie deck, right? That's it. That's all. Really? You'd never put a Lord of the Undead in a deck that wasn't a zombie deck, right?
Unless you artificial mutation it to make it say all goblins
you could do that.
+1 and
if you
want to
goblin from your you could run a black blue red deck.
Oh god. Yeah.
4 Goblin Kings and 4 Lord of the Undead.
How about Merfolk? Just make it black blue. And now you use your Lord of the Undead to give all Merfolk +1/+1.
No.
And no.
It's black, blue, red. And you have 4 Lord of the Undead, 4 Goblin King, 4 Lord of Atlantis, and 4 Artificial Mutation. And you just use the Artificial Mutation to change all of your Lords to pump whatever the first creature is that you get out. I gotta think about this. I gotta work this out on paper.
Yeah.
You know what
I see where you're going though. I like it. So obviously people use this, it's so expensive. My thing is that there's a couple other, I guess we're going to talk about them next week, some of the other goblins, but there are some other
Zombies.
goblins that do lord type things.
Zombies or goblins? Zombies.
Or zombies, sorry, zombies. So, there are other options to like give your zombies +1/+1 or whatever. And I'm just wondering like how much you're going to use the graveyard ability for 2 mana with this when you have other options for graveyard recycling. You know what I mean? I might just play like Oversold Cemeteries and instead not use this guy and use like Undead War Chief or whatever.
You could.
Or you can use both.
Could use both. I would just play this guy because I don't know. Again, I'm a simple man. I love clan decks. I love creature-based decks. I love anthem effects. I love a lord. What surprises me most about this price is that yes, it's it's a limited card. It's going to be in a zombie deck, so it has limited use cases. How many people have zombie decks? Well, zombie decks are popular, but it's not like everybody who plays Magic builds 4 zombie decks or anything. And it's been printed in not just Plane Chase, but also 8th edition, 9th edition, 10th edition. These cards from each edition is over $10. It's surprising to me.
That's old white border cards worth money.
Makes sense.
Weird. By the way, I was just looking, I was like, is this guy is he supposed to be blue? So I looked down at the bottom at the quote. It says he's Lord Dralnu. So I was like, okay, I better look up Dralnu. Typing that in here. I know we have Dralnu's Crusade. There was a Time Spiral card called Dralnu Lich Lord. And he's a blue and black zombie wizard. And in that card, he is also blue of skin.
So is Dralnu the Lich Lord or Lord of the zombies? Or is the Lich also Lord of the zombies?
Lord of the zombies.
What is a Lich again? It's a
Lich
undead?
Is a powerful undead wizard.
Wizard, okay.
Was a wizard in life and then became an undead sorcerer.
Okay, so you would think maybe they could also, have power over zombies too. So it's the same fella.
Zombie wizard, that's a Lich,
It's the same fella.
Yeah. It's the same fella.
A must include, in my opinion, in zombie decks, even better than Goblin King, not Zoblin King. Maybe bring back all your peskiest 1 and 2 drops that 8 your opponent's initial removal spells. They think they're being all fancy. They're getting rid of. You put that in the Cabal Interrogator. They're like, not today. Swords to Plowshares.
Well, what was the zombie wizard we just looked at?
Not Swords to Plowshares. Swords to Plowshares, you can't bring it back. They'd have to.
What?
They'd have to lightning bolt it.
Oh.
I said Swords to Plowshares, but that'd be exile.
Yeah. But the guy we just talked about, who you said would be a big target because of the discard ability,
Cabal Interrogator. Yeah.
Bring that back into play.
I made a note. Interesting errata. Lord of the Undead. So here it just says creature lord. Lord of the Undead now has the zombie creature type. And its first ability has been reworded to affect other zombies. So it is a zombie lord, but it doesn't give itself +1/+1. But if you have 2 Lord of the Undeads out, that will give each other +1/+1.
Gotcha. Cool.
Next 3-drop zombie. They're coming fast and furious now.
Yeah, I mean, definitely better than Zombie Master,
Yes.
That's what it was called, right? Zombie Master.
Yes. Stronghold Assassin is another 3-drop zombie. Okay. So by default, it just put up the 7th edition one. I was going to bring this up after we went through the stats, but let's just talk about it now because it's right here in your face. Look at this. Stronghold Assassin.
All right.
Okay, whatever. Magic card.
He's doing his thing.
Whatever. I don't even know what it is. It looks like I'm blanking right now. The Marvel character, Colossus. Like it looks like almost Colossus isn't a robot.
Yeah. Metal skinned person.
Yeah. I don't remember why Colossus has metal skin.
He's a mutant.
Yeah, weird things happen, I guess. And when people mutate. But that's the art. You saw it. Everybody saw it. Right? Everybody, you saw that.
I did. I want to go back to that though eventually. I know where you're going though.
We'll go back. We'll go back.
Yeah.
I want
Because
to
we
pull up the
talked
original.
about this card before on here. I ordered some of these a few months ago, I think.
Now here's the original.
Yeah.
Now this right here, illustrated by Matthew Wilson. This right here is everything you would want a zombie assassin to be. I mean, I don't know what it is. Almost looks like a giant orc-like character. Jaw's so big, looks like he got balls on his chin. Gigantic.
I was gonna say that, and I was like, I know, maybe I shouldn't say he has balls.
Crazy metal mask. This weird thing coming down from it, from his insides, pumping something straight into this fella's mouth that he's assassinating with this bizarre contraption.
No, he's sucking it out. He's sucking something out of him.
Sucking life out.
Yeah.
It's going through the contraption back right down his gullet. Terrifying.
I would go with that guy for Halloween.
Perfect.
Yeah.
A hard to beat this art for a Phyrexian zombie assassin, which I should mention. I'll start at the beginning. 1 colorless, 2 black, rare from Stronghold. Summon assassin. It is now a Phyrexian zombie assassin.
Oh.
2/1 tap, sacrifice a creature, destroy target non-black creature. So this is everything. This is how you would want your Phyrexian zombie assassin to appear. I don't know why they decided. I don't want to disparage the 7th edition art.
You're just mad at
the artist, but I don't know why they would decide they needed to commission new art for the Stronghold set.
Yeah. Also, I love the flavor text on this. The quote: "The assassin sees only throats and hears only heartbeats." Dun, dun, dun.
And he's not even going for the throat. I guess he's.
Well, I mean, metaphorically, he sees only the opportunity to kill.
Yes. I know what you're saying. 4.150 on Gatherer. Current market price of $1.27.
Okay, like go. Can we go back to the other one now? Because I want to see who drew it.
What do you do with this guy? Not bad. You can sack tokens. You can sack other zombies you might just want to bring back with your lord, etc., etc.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to go back right now. So, okay, here we go.
Okay, who we got? Braun on. What I was gonna say was, I was like, I bet you the person that drew this also drew Rofalos Llanowar Emissary.
Okay.
Because they're both doing that like derpy walk. But it's different artists.
Why does the Stronghold Assassin need cleavage also? I mean, you could ask that about a lot of Magic cards.
Yeah. But it isn't very, it isn't obvious,
There's a lot going on here. Yeah.
Not so practical costume for the assassin lady there.
Yeah. Next 3-drop. Next 3-drop is Rot Lung Reanimator.
Yes.
This is a very good card.
I like this a lot.
This is a card that annoyed the shit out of me when he played against me. I can't remember exactly what shenanigans you were pulling, but it was really annoying. Like, I couldn't get rid of anything because it would just spawn new zombies. I can't remember what happened. I think you did some goofy thing where you like used artificial evolution. You used some card to change something to another type of card, and then I was trying everything I killed made new zombies or some shit.
Yeah.
It was terrible.
This one.
It was terrible. Rare from Onslaught, 1 colorless, 2 black. I think I said 1 colorless, 2 black.
2
Summon
colorless,
zombie.
1 black.
Did I say 1 colorless, 2 black?
You did.
It's 9. Okay. It's late at night. Well, I got to get my shit together. We still got a show. We got a show to record. I can't be peeding around already. Hold on, I'm gonna take a sip of coffee. No, it's a nitro cold brew that I bought from Starbucks earlier in the day. I've been nursing it for about 6 hours now. I take a zip of Diet Coke.
Give this another go.
I'm gonna take a sip of water.
Oh God. It's doing the triple beverage, folks.
It's the only way to podcast. I don't know how people podcast without 3 beverages.
I crave beverages.
Okay, let me start over. We're restarting the whole episode. This is a rare from Onslaught. One, I know why I'm saying one color is too black, because that's what I wrote in the show notes. Rare from Onslaught, 2 colorless, 1 black. Summon Zombie Cleric. 2/2. Whenever a Rot Lung Reanimator or another cleric is put into a graveyard from play, put a 2/2 black zombie creature token into play. I think I remember what you did. I think you used Artificial Evolution or some similar card to say put a 2/2 black cleric creature token into play. So every time I tried to kill a token, it just remade itself.
Yeah, maybe. Or I might have done it the other way around, because I could say another zombie is put into a graveyard. So then whenever you killed a zombie token, I'd put another zombie token in. So either way it works.
That's true.
Pretty fun.
4.254 on Gatherer, current market price of $4.90, man.
Not bad, not bad, not bad. Do you want my hot take?
Do I have a hot take?
Or do you want my hot take? I'm going to give
think about it. I don't know if this is the place for hot takes, Alex. We want cold takes, lukewarm.
Okay. Well, no, this is okay. It's a cold take then.
I don't know if our listener base can handle a hot take.
Oh,
how hot are we talking?
Are they too old for hot takes?
2 days ago, I cooked some jalapenos. And after this has happened several times, but this was the worst. And after this, I decided to take all the jalapenos that I harvested from my garden this year and just throw them out. Because I cooked jalapenos on a skillet on the stovetop, and I had the fan on, the overhead fan. But with the seeds, and this has happened before, where all those capsaicin, all the capsaicin molecules are volatilized into the air.
Oh, did you get it up in your nose?
I breathe them. I start to get sinusy, start to cough a little bit. But the other day, it was worse than ever. And like my sinuses, everything was inflamed and puffed up. And I started wheezing, like it became hard for me to breathe.
Wow.
And I was like, oh man, like I'm having a legitimate allergic reaction to these jalapenos. Like I started getting nervous. I was like, if this gets worse, is this going to be like anaphylaxis? And I Googled online, like some people do over time, some people do like get sensitized to capsaicin and jalapenos in particular. And people can have anaphylactic reactions, go into anaphylactic shock after being exposed to jalapenos. And I was like, I think that's what's happening to me. I think it's been getting worse. Like over the years, I threw them out. I'm like, I don't think I'm going to eat jalapenos any longer. Anyways, as long as your hot take is not that hot, give it to me.
Of course it's not that hot.
Give it to
me.
You
shouldn't have even said hot take. Do you want my opinion?
Yes.
Okay. Here's my cold opinion on this card. I mean, it's great either way, but I think it's better in a cleric deck than the zombie deck.
I wouldn't say no. And I wouldn't say no to that, because I saw some clerics that you ran it with, and there's clerics that you can sacrifice these tokens to just generate more. You were doing that, wasn't that what you were doing?
Yeah, you can with like Cabal Archon.
Cabal Archon.
As clerics.
I think that's what you were doing. And Cabal Archon is that to any target, or is that just to?
I think it's to player. Just to player.
But still, that's still terrible.
I might have forgotten already.
Target player loses 2 life. Oh, okay, and you gain 2 life. Yeah, so that was very annoying. It was terrible.
And that's not to say this is bad in a zombie deck or anything. I'm just thinking that, like, you know, when you're looking at it, like if it's an either or, in a cleric deck, anything you have out already that you're doing is gonna trigger that. Whereas in the zombie deck, it's pretty much just that guy, right, who's gonna die and trigger the zombie generation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. No, I agree with you. Pete Venters, he's come up a lot in this episode. doing lots of work in zombie/zombie clerics, zombie/cleric/zombie cleric world. Lots of strong art there. Okay, that's Rot Lung Reanimator. Some have called this the zombie so nice you have to kill it twice. Did you ever hear that one, Alex? It's pretty
No,
good.
I haven't, but I understand why.
Okay, so that's the last of the 3 drops I'm going to talk about. Next, I could go on to the 4 drops. Most of these are 4 drops, but some are above 4 casting costs. So I'm going to call this section the more drops, just more than 3. First one I want to talk about actually has a high casting cost. It's a casting cost of 6 overall, but nobody ever actually plays it for 6.
Zombie Fatty.
It's Gem Palm Polluter.
Oh, yeah, so good.
Rare from Legions, 5 colorless, 1 black, summon zombie, 4/3, but nobody cares about that. They always cycle it. You can cycle this card for 2 black. Pay 2 black, discard this card from your hand, draw a card. When you cycle Gem Palm Polluter, you may have target player lose 1 life for each zombie in play. This really gives reach to the zombie deck, makes it a lot better. Same with the goblin deck. We saw Gem Palm Incinerator. You can deal damage to creatures, gives direct damage to zombies. That gives direct damage to goblins. This gives direct damage to zombies. In this case, it's only target player, but who cares? It's still a big deal. Has a capacity to do a lot of damage because you're running zombies. You're probably going to have a lot of them. Truly a beast when combined with cards that bring zombies back to your hand. You can bring this guy back to your hand. How many times you need to bring Gem Palm Polluter back to your hand before you drain your opponent of all their life? Not that many turns, probably.
And for 2 mana at instant speed, no less,
Yes. I noted a couple rulings, some interesting rulings about cycling. So when you cycle this card, first the cycling ability goes on the stack. Then the triggered ability goes on the stack. On top of it, the triggered ability will resolve before you draw a card from the cycling ability.
Yes, okay. Which makes sense because that's how I would interpret it. You would have the life thing happen first before you actually drew the card.
Now, why did I write that down? It's 9:35 p.m. So that was really interesting to me at the time that I read it.
I saw something about that in there too. I think I saw someone making a comment about that maybe. My internet's going slow now too.
I like the second part. The cycling ability and the triggered ability are separate. So if the triggered ability doesn't resolve, because, for example, if it's been countered or all of its targets have become illegal, the cycling ability will still resolve and you'll still draw a card. Next, more drop. This one happens to actually be a 4-drop. One we talked about in an early episode when we were like, oh, look at this fucking sweet-ass fucking...
Yeah, I like this guy when I found him.
4 mana, potential 5/5. Look, it's a 66-cent Jazam Djinn. It's a rare from Plane Chase. 3 colorless, 1 black. I think when this card came out, when Plane Chase was first printed, all the 12 and 13-year-olds playing at the time were really pumped by this, just like we were when we first saw it as 41-year-olds. Summon Phyrexian Zombie, and I think that you learn that it's probably not as good as you think it is when you first see it, but it's still cool. 3/3, kicker, pay 3 life. If you paid the kicker cost, Phyrexian Scudda comes into play with 2 +1/+1 counters on it. So it can be a 5/5, and in black, where you have Dark Ritual, you can have a 5/5 out on turn 2. 3.845 on Gatherer, current market price of 66 cents. Problems are if you bring this out on 2/2 and there's a 5/5 on the board, it's going to eat removal immediately. If your opponent has any removal, the Scudda's getting removed. So you may have paid 3 life and not been able to keep your big creature, but sometimes it doesn't get removed and it's awesome. You have 5/5 on turn 2. It's just a cool card. And
Yeah,
it's a Rasta squid man.
Yeah, I'm sure, probably. Reminds me of the guy from Enemy Mine. Do you remember that movie?
No, not at all.
It was a Dennis Quaid sci-fi movie from the 80s.
No. It's not terrible.
He befriends an enemy alien combatant. They shoot each other down over a planet, and they, even though they are different, they become friends.
Where'd you see this? Was it a movie that was on HBO?
Yep, it was an old HBO
yeah.
movie. Enemy Mine.
I remember when I was young, I thought like HBO was awesome because I didn't have it. And then you get HBO and you're like, it's just like 22.5 hours a day, 7 days a week of just like garbage. And then maybe like one movie that you want to watch. That's how I remember HBO when I actually got access to it for a little while. And then The Sopranos. The Sopranos came around and that was fucking awesome. But like the rest of HBO, just wasn't impressed. And where are they now? Has HBO kept up with the times? No. Can't just be playing shit movies all the time, HBO. You have other options nowadays. Next, more drop is Soulless One. An uncommon from Onslaught, 3 colorless, 1 black, summon zombie avatar. It is star. Soulless One's power and toughness are each equal to the number of zombies in play, plus the number of zombie cards in all graveyards. It has a rating of 4.105 on Gather, a current market price of 117. If you're playing two-headed giant with a buddy and you both bring zombies to the table, imagine. It's a big body for mid to late game and not much mana. I like that it stays pumped even if your zombies are killed.
Yeah.
Provided they're not exiled. Do you need a big body in a zombie deck? I don't know. Not really. A lot of times you find that you don't need big bodies in a lot of different decks. You can do without them, but I always like to throw one in. Just a little wild card.
Yeah.
In a deck.
Especially, like for 4 mana, like it's, it's not like this guy's like black, 3 or something,
Yeah, it's 1 black, 3 colors, real easy to cast. You're playing zombies, you're probably going to be mono black anyways.
Yeah. But still, I mean, even 4 converted mana cost is still like, for as big as this guy will probably get.
Anyways, I think it's fun. It appeals to the Timmy and me, to the 12-year-old Magic player in me. I definitely, this is the kind of card if you're a kid, you get into the Magic, you pull Soulless One for a pack. From a pack, you're psyched.
Yeah.
This is a card you want to trade a
Tiger start looking for other zombies. I gotta trade for some zombies.
You're like, what am I going to do with this Underground Z? Will you trade me your Soulless One for an Underground C? I know these are different eras, but
point taken.
Next more drop. Undead Warchief. Undead Warchief is an uncommon from Scourge. 2 colorless, 2 black, summon zombie, 1/1. Zombie spells you play cost 1 colorless less to play. Zombies you control get +2, +1. And this fella right here is not a lord, it is a zombie. So it gives himself +2, +1.
Yeah, so
has a rating of
3/2.
Has a rating of 4.186 on Gatherer. Current market price of $8.89. People just love these zombie cards that have lord effects.
This is more than I thought it was price-wise, actually.
Same.
But this is kind of what I was thinking when I mentioned Lord, what's he called now already? I forgot. Lord of the Undead?
Lord of the Undead.
Lord of the Undead. Yeah, I'm both good. I'm kind of the mind that I sort of want to play this guy instead of Lord of the Undead.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Because I feel exactly the opposite way, and I'm not sure why, because the Undead Warchief is kind of like the Goblin Warchief. This is the Warchief for zombies. And in Goblin's deck, I have 4 Goblin Warchiefs, and I wouldn't go without 4 Goblin Warchiefs, I don't think. Maybe.
What does Warchief do again?
But I'd do 3 at least. Goblin Warchief, I think, is 1 colorless, 2 red. So it's a lower casting cost. Let me look that up just to make sure.
Yeah, we just pull it up. Because I can't.
But It's goblin spells you play cost 1 colorless less to play. That's
Oh,
the
okay.
same. And it gives your goblins haste.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, and it's 1 colorless less, and it's 2/2. The Undead War Chief is 1/1, but really it's 3/2.
Yeah, okay.
I like the lower casting cost, and I
Mhm.
like the haste. The
Mhm.
haste that it gives you the ability to bring out your pile driver and attack with them immediately, you know? So the undead is slower.
Yeah,
It doesn't add extra speed to your zombie deck the way the War Chief adds speed to your goblin deck, allows you to kill even faster.
true.
It just gives you a Lord effect.
Mhm.
And the Lord of the Undead gives you a Lord effect for less mana.
But this guy, you get your mana back. You know what I mean? It's kind of like a mana investment,
I
mana
do.
rock style or whatever. You're in a.
I know what you're saying.
Then though, you have to pay. You sort of have to maybe make sure you're picking other zombies that definitely have colorless in their casting cost, because you don't want to play this guy with a bunch of like black.
Yeah.
You know.
Which you might have withered wretch, carnage. None of those are going to benefit from this. Lord of the Undead
Yes.
has 1 colorless.
Yes.
That'll benefit from this. Shepherd of Rot, 1 colorless, 1 black, benefit from this. Gem Palm Polluter, who cares? You're going to cycle it. I don't know. I don't need a deck. I don't need a zombie deck, I think, with more than 4 Lord effects. And I like the Lord of the Undead's second ability, the ability to bring things back from the graveyard, more than I like the mana savings provided by the Undead War Chief.
I'm
But
looking
I
at the
want
zombie deck that I put this guy in, and I'm seeing that I didn't really follow my own advice too much. I don't feel like I have enough stuff in here with colorless mana to make it worthwhile. Although more than one Undead War Chief, they work on the subsequent Undead War Chief.
yes. And that's a pain in the ass. You get that second Undead War Chief out, and you're giving everything +4/+2.
Yeah.
Holy smoly.
And now all your zombies cost 2 less to cast.
Oh my god.
Your Phyrexian Sciota is black 1.
Oh my god. And it's 7/5 without paying the kicker.
Oh, without paying the kicker.
So yeah, I would not tell anybody not to pay Undead War Chief, but I just think I put Lord of the Undead in instead.
I hear you. I'll probably use them both. I'll tinker around. Maybe I'll put both in a deck, or 2 of each, or something. We'll see.
Yeah. So that's the end of my review of the A-Team zombie creatures, in my opinion, that are pre-modern legal. Now to discuss which ones make the starting lineup in my pre-modern zombies deck that I will be building in 2024. As loyal listeners of the podcast know, I did say I was going to build a zombies deck in late 2023 or in early 2024. My plans have been delayed to late 2024. So 2024 at the earliest, that's when I will be building my zombie deck. Lots to like about the zombies. I like that you have bangers in each of the 1, 2, and 3 drops. I want to keep it low casting costs, add some utility zombies and some zombies that provide reach like Gem Palm. Incinerator 1 drops, I'm running with the Carnage. Gotta have the Carnage in my opinion. 2 drops, you put some Withered Wretches in there because it's a 2/2 for 2 with a cool special ability that comes in handy a lot, taking things from the graveyard, removing them. Shepherd of Rot because I like tapping and doing damage. Good Suicide Black card. Plague Bearer because it gets rid of Manimals, it gets rid of Dreadnought, it gets rid of something else that I mentioned earlier when we talked about it that I can't remember right now. 3 drops, Lord of the Undead and Rotlung Reanimator, both great cards. More drops, I run the Gem Palm Polluter, and I have 1 Soulless 1. That's what I think I'm going to do. Those are my key pre-modern zombies,
All right.
in my opinion. Zombie utility cards. I didn't put the deck together yet. Those are the creatures that I think I'm running. With the zombies out of the way, the actual creatures out of the way, what non-creature cards nicely complement the zombie horde. Well, this one I will run. And it's not a creature, but it also is a creature. It's just another way to get a 2/2 for 1 out. You have your Carnophages. But you also
Yeah.
have Sarcomancy.
I was just thinking about this card.
A rare from Tempest. It's 1 black. It's an enchantment. But when it comes into play, you put a zombie token into play, and that token is a 2/2 black creature. During your upkeep, if there are no zombies in play, Sarcomancy deals 1 damage to you. So most of the time you're going to have no zombies. Most of the time you're going to have zombies in play. Sometimes you won't, and then you have to take that 1 damage. But that's just the kind of thing you're going to have to deal with when you're playing zombies.
Yeah, you want to get out a 2/2 for 1 mana on turn 1.
2/2 for 1 is always nice. The downside could hurt, especially, and I think you mentioned earlier, you don't want to run too many things. This is the problem you can get yourself into. You don't want to run too many things where you're dealing yourself damage. This downside could hurt, especially if you're also running Carnophage and Shepherd of Rot, etc., etc.
So, sorry, what were you saying?
I just said etc., etc.
Okay. What I want to try to mess with this card is, so you don't lose your token if Sarcomancy goes away. Okay, so ideal case scenario, you're casting Sarcomancy and then using something to get rid of the enchantment. So I was thinking of I'm blanking now on the card, but it's a big black creature, and every time it takes damage, you have to sacrifice permanents. That's its drawback. Remember that guy?
Phyrexian Negator.
Yeah, Phyrexian Negator. I knew it was a Phyrexian something.
Which I'm like, how do I work with this card? It's very scary.
Yeah. And obviously you don't want to have it taking damage and you have to sacrifice your permanents, but if if you have something like Sarcomancy and you have to sacrifice your permanents, you see where I'm going.
Yeah.
It's fodder for something like that.
This card, though, I'm reading this right. It seems pretty straightforward, right? Like it's a 5/5. And if somebody lightning bolts it, that means you need to get rid of 3 permanents, right?
Yes.
Is sacrifice a permanent for each 1 damage to it.
Yeah, yes, correct.
I mean, this is a card that was big at different points. I know we have to get into some decks at some point that ran the Negator. But it's always had a massive potential downside. It's like, this is a real go big or go home card. But I think that like any deck I'd put this in, I'd just ruin myself. What am I not seeing? People have to be doing something a little bit more clever with this, right? Because I mean, you're going to get bolted all the time, and then 3 things are going to have to be pulled from the board. How are you ever going to get ahead? I know it's a Dark Ritual for potential first turn 5/5.
Yeah. I mean,
Trample.
I don't know what people do most commonly with this, but I have a few ideas.
Even if they have a blocker out, it deals 1 damage, and then you need to remove it. Now you've trampled over the 1/1 for 4 damage, but it's been dealt 1 damage, so you got to remove this or something else. You could sacrifice land.
Correct. I think you just have to get creative about what you're sacrificing and like trying to churn it back,
That's my problem. Not creative.
Well, I mean, I didn't mean it like that. I just meant like, I don't know.
Sacrifice a permanent for each 1 damage dealt to it. Crucible of Worlds again.
Yeah, there you go. Crucible of Worlds would be a great card to play with this. But yeah, I was thinking about like, Oversold Cemetery. I mean, Sarcomancy, things that you might want to sacrifice because they have an upkeep that you don't want to pay.
Yeah, Sarcomancy is a good one.
Trying to think what else.
I'd be curious to see how many big Phyrexian Negator decks like that did well back in the day also may or may not run 4 Sarcomancies. That's a good one.
Okay, here you go. Here's one, Steve. From the same block, Treacherous Link. Is 1 black, 1 colorless. It's an aura. Redirect to its controller all damage dealt to enchanted creature. So now you can put something like that or something like Shroud on your Phyrexian Negator. So now it can't so it's immune to the damage.
Redirect to its controller all damage. Okay.
Yeah. So now I just eat the damage for the Negator. So I never have to sacrifice the permanents. So things like that, like Shroud,
But then you got to enchant it so that
correct. Yeah,
like
now you're into, like,
negates your ability
yes.
to. Well, no,
Because-
you can still pay. You could still Dark Ritual play first turn for Hexing Negator, but then you got to wait till the second turn to do
Yeah.
your enchantment stuff with it.
Mm-hmm.
Which, okay, it could still get lightning bolted though.
Someone mentions balance, which of course is not legal anymore, but like that would be obviously a good one.
Oh yeah. Balance would be fun with this.
You could use Culling the Weak to, like, if you try to lightning bolt my negator, I can Culling the Weak it in response so that it gets sacrificed and never takes the damage.
Yeah.
Something.
Yeah. We need to build a bunch of Fire Hexing Negator decks. Oh,
and then
back too far.
Yeah.
Were you gonna say something?
Yeah, I was
Did you
just
say
thinking
now?
about counter spell in general. If you're playing like black blue, you know, you could protect your negator once you get him down.
Not in pre-modern, but another yeah, like formats where you have Force of Will.
Yeah.
You have foil available to you in pre-modern. Not as good as Force of Will, but still. I'm just trying to think of things that like you wouldn't even need the 2 blue.
Or like what's the one we
order
just
to
talked
cast a
about, the
Misdirection.
yeah, misdirection.
Yeah, okay.
That'd be a good one with it. But yeah, it is. I am nervous to try playing it. I don't know. But for some reason, I thought of Sarcomancy. Also, Sarcomancy would be cool with like bounce effects. If you have something like, you know, capsize, return to your hand, put it down again, keep doing that. I don't know. How about replenish or something that returns enchantments? You know, I like get down a couple Sarcomancies. Well, then you have to get it destroyed before you can bring it back. So I don't know. It's a little trickier.
But it's a good card.
Mhm.
I mean, it's a 2/2 for 1, and then you can also do weird things. Next utility card that I would probably put in a zombie deck, Bad Moon. This is a rare from Alpha and many other sets. 1 colorless, 1 black enchantment. All black creatures in play gain +1/+1. I love Anthem effects.
Yeah.
4.321 on Gather. Current market price of $552.49 if you'd like to buy the Alpha printing. If not, you can pick up a revised printing for about $5 or other printings for even cheaper. It's a classic. Run it or don't. But if you're old school, fucking run Bad Moon. I wrote, what the hell these people on Gather are talking about? What did they say? Oh, somebody called Damage back in 2011 said that's not very good. What? Come
The
on.
only thing I don't like about Bad Moon is that it has the potential to affect your opponent's creatures, but
you friggin' kids got no
still.
respect for classic Alpha cards. That's not
Mana
very
to
good.
pump
Come
all your
on,
creatures.
man.
Come on.
This can even be 1 colorless mana too if the person across the table can't see very well, you know?
Classic Arabian Nights style bamboozle.
One person said, why would you use this in any other color deck than black? Maybe if you change the color on the card with one of those classic spells. Otherwise, it's okay. I don't even know what the hell Whole Lot of Love is talking about. Well, yeah, why would you use this in any other color deck than black?
No, you wouldn't, but that's not the point.
I looked through all the other comments. I couldn't even find anything that Whole Lot of Love was responding to. But listen, A Whole Lot of Love. You left this comment in 2012. If you're listening to this podcast episode right now, what the hell are you talking about, man?
Yeah.
Leave it in the comments below. Tell us what the hell you were talking about. Were you drunk? Were you high? Maybe just stupid. I don't know.
Goblin Matriarch would be a terrible card if not playing a Goblin deck.
It is true. Never thought about it. Now I'm going to take it out of my Goblin deck. Anyways, Bad Moon Classic. I had to mention it. I like it. I love Anthem effects because, again, I'm a simple man. I like to pump creatures. I like to turn them sideways. Unholy Grotto. Not a zombie, but also great for zombie decks. It's a land. It's a rare from Onslaught. Casting cost is 0 because it's a land. Tap. Add 1 colorless to your mana pool, so that's good. Does what lands do. Or you can pay 1 black and tap it to put target zombie card from your graveyard on top of your library. So, you know, lots of zombies we've talked about that you would want to bring back, like especially things like Gem Palm Polluter.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Be good for Gem Palm Polluter. Other than that, though, I feel like going to the top of my library, you know, in black, I have so many options to bring to my hand or even directly into play. You know,
I mostly would want it for Gem Palm Polluter.
yeah, you have like a real big banger like that you have like a win condition card, then yeah.
4.222 repeating on Gatherer,
good.
current market price of $12.18. I saw this comment on Gatherer, made me like this even more for playing with Gem Palm Polluter. You don't just Gem Palm Pollute every turn. You do it for every one of these guys and every 3 mana you have every turn. So what the hell does that mean? It made perfect sense to me when I read it 2 days ago, but now it's 10 p.m. I'm tired. They elaborate. You pay 2 black.
I see.
You discard the Gem Palm Polluter as the cost.
Yeah.
While the effect of drawing a card from cycling is on the stack, you activate this. So it goes off first because it's now above it on the stack, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Gem Palm Polluter is on top of your library. Then the draw effect from cycling triggers. You effectively give Gem Palm Polluter's cycling a buyback.
Wow. Wow.
So I said, does it really work like this? Question mark? I think so. It seems like that is how it should work, but that's fucking sick, bro.
That is very good. Gem Palm Polluter is already very good.
Yeah. Anyway, so I thought about that. Well, you know, I read it and then I thought about it and I'm like, that's sick, bro. Those, I think, are great utility cards to include in any pre-modern zombie deck. I wanted to now look over some example pre-modern zombie decks that I found. They're both pretty similar. These are 2 that I liked quite a bit. Found them on TC Decks. First one is Robin Lund playing zombies in the Pre-Modern Online Monthly, June 2022. Wanted to pull this up. Both these decks I'm going to talk about performed pretty well in their respective tournaments. Can't remember how they placed, but they both placed fairly highly. First one, Robin Lund. What I want to do, I want to show the cards. I like showing the cards. Visual grid, is that the format that I like? It is. So this is pretty much like, I think the zombie, I mean, this is really what I would do plus a soulless one, because I just like having one big beefcake there in my deck. Makes me feel good. 4 Carnage, 4 Gem Palm Polluters, 4 Lord of the Undead, 2 Rotlung Reanimator, 4 Shepherd of Rots, 4 Withered Wretches. I love all those 4 ofs. Because you're playing black, they go with Duress and Cabal Therapy, some of the best cards in pre-modern. Pretty much every competitive black deck I see runs these. They're really important, you know, for getting rid of removal or counter spells. It's really, you don't have counters of your own in black to deal with your opponent's counters or removal spells. So sometimes you just got to rely on these discard spells and hope you can just get them out of your opponent's hand before they can use them against your spells or permanents. The Writ, Smother, to give yourself a little bit of removal, and then 2 Bad Moons, 4 Sarcomancies. So I like the 1-drops. Everything he went with, and everything he played 4 ofs, I think I would play 4 ofs in mine. Pretty straightforward. 1 Unholy Grotto, 4 Wasteland, and then Swamps. Sideboard, Dystopia, always a great sideboard card in black to deal with white or green decks. Got a Plague Bearer in his sideboard. If you're, I don't know what, I mean, I would sideboard this in against like a deck with a lot of Manimals, or if I'm playing against Dreadnought.
Mm-hmm.
Engineer Plague can help you deal with other, you know, clan decks, goblins, stuff like that, elves. Zombie Master. We didn't talk about this one. We will talk about it next episode. Spoiler alert. Next episode, we're going to continue to talk about zombies. Not the greatest zombie, but hey, man, I think I'd sideboard this in against any opponent that's playing swamps, because then you're just swamp walking the fuck out of them. And it's going to be pretty hard to lose that game, I think, if the Zombie Master can stay in play for a couple turns. Just swamp walk.
And also, I mean, not that I'm deliberately trying to combo those two things, but like Contamination is another sideboard card I'd probably think about playing, anytime I'm playing mono black.
It's a pretty straightforward deck. Looks like it's fun to play. It's the kind of deck that I like to pilot, kind of deck that I like to build. Second one was Umaboshi playing zombies in the Southern California Premodern Monthly number 4, July 2023. I go back to don't know why I always do that. I always go to more. Visual grid, save. What do we got here? We got a lot of the same cards. 4 Carnage, Gem Palm Polluters, 4 Lord of the Undead. The 2 Plague Bearers right off the bat. Honestly, I think that's where I would do that. I would have at least 1, maybe 2 Plague Bearers main board. 2 Raw Lug Reanimators, 4 Shepherd of Rot, 4 Withered Wretches. And then I like the inclusion of 1 Wretched Anurid. I don't know if it really makes any sense, but it's a fun card, a flavorful card. It's a 3/3 for 2. Whenever another creature comes into play, you lose 1 life. But if you can get through with this,
I don't understand.
3/3 for 2.
No, I mean, I get that part, and I've seen this card already, like in zombie lists. I thought about it maybe. But what I don't understand is why you only have 1, because I feel like I must be missing something. I feel like this guy's good if you get it out
Fast. You need to get it out fast, and you're
Well,
less
that's what I
likely
thought,
to
yeah.
have it in your opening hand if there's only 1 in the deck.
Yeah, that's where I was going.
Yeah.
But maybe I had it backwards, because I mean, even though it's low casting cost, maybe you don't want to get it down early, because then you're going to keep losing life for all the other creatures that come out. Maybe it's a little better to just have it as like a 2-drop that comes out as like a 5/5 later on.
Yeah, with a Bad Moon and Lord of the Undead in play. I think that is kind of how you play it. And I think you might run into, if you play 4 of these and try to get them in your opening hand right away, you'll run into the issue we talked about before, which, you also got Carn Feeder here. You also got Sarcomancy here. You also got Shepherd of Rot here. Are you going to end up killing yourself?
Yeah.
Oopsie. Anyways, 2 Duress, 4 Cabal Therapy, Dark Writ, Bad Moon, Sarcomancy.
Beta Swamps, baby. Woo.
He eschews the Unholy Grotto, 4 Wasteland Swamps. I put the betas in here. Bad Moon. More Wretched Anurids here in the sideboard, just 1 more. Perish, Engineered Plague, both great sideboard cards. We talked about Perish.
Yeah.
And the Color Hosers. Badass. Zombie Master, probably, again, I'm assuming seems pretty clear to me why they're putting this in the sideboard. If you're playing against an opponent that has swamps, why not?
I guess. I mean, I guess you could also be sideboarding it for the regeneration. Like if you're playing like someone whose removal is all damage based, like a red deck. But I mean, I don't know.
That's true. It's also pretty good probably to run against red. But then can you outrun a burn deck? Can you outrun a good burn deck? If your opponent's playing burn, do you want them to send it all to your face? Because if they do, are they going to be able to kill you faster than you'll be able to zombie them to death?
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know. I'd have to think about that for a little while.
That's true. You might be more vulnerable than your creatures, just like overall in that matchup. Yeah.
You might want to hope that they send some of it at your creatures instead of straight to your face.
Yeah. Yeah. So probably more the swamp walk thing then.
I don't know. Those are 2 decks I saw that I thought looked pretty fun. Pretty straightforward zombie decks. A lot of the best zombies that we talked about. That's it for segment 1, Alex. Now we're going to move on to segment 2. You might ask, what are we going to talk about in segment 2? Well, segment 2 in this episode is going to be the Old Man Magic Commander Corner.
What's happening in Commander?
We're still talking about zombies.
Okay.
That's it for 60 card formats today. But let's say you're more in a 100 card singleton format. What zombie commanders might you want to play this Halloween? Do they exist? Why, yes, they do. Let's look at some old frame zombie commander options. The first one that I want to talk about, Alex, is from my favorite set of all time. It's gold bordered, which I love. I'm a sucker for gold bordered cards. You put gold around a card, I want it. Kind of strange because I don't like a lot of other gold things. Don't like gold jewelry. Don't like gold cars. I don't like gold teeth. I don't like gold Schlager. But I do love gold Magic the Gathering card.
Gold Schlager.
Boris Devilboon.
What? This guy? What?
Yeah, didn't know it, did you? Didn't know it.
Did
Rare
not
from
know
Legends.
he was a zombie, although I probably should have guessed.
Reserve list, 3 colorless, 1 black, 1 red. Has been errated to Summon Zombie Wizard.
Summon Zombie Wizard Legend?
Still a legend, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. 2/2. You could pay 2 colors, 1 black, 1 red, tap to put a minor demon token into play. You treat this token as a 1/1 red and black creatures. I say this as somebody who really loves legends, who really loves gold border cards. I even built my first commander deck around Jacques Laver. This card is not really playable. It's just it's not really playable.
No.
I wish he created zombie tokens, but it appears they are still demon tokens. They have been slightly errated. It now says, create a black and red demon creature token named Minor Demon. Why they thought they needed to make that change in the Oracle text, no clue. I don't know if there's any cards specifically that synergize with minor demons. Or sorry, this always said Minor Demon. The Oracle text was errated to say a creature token named Minor, capital N, Demon, capital D.
Okay.
Very weird, right? What?
Yeah.
Why did you need to? It's like a, what do I want to say? I'm tired again. A difference without a something.
Like an inconsequential difference.
Yeah. Now this card sucks, but I will eventually buy one because it is an original Legends legendary creature, and they are my favorite, and I want to have them all. Some people collect Pokemon. I collect original Legends.
And Pogs.
So, no Pogs. Eventually I have to buy a Boris Devilboon. I don't have one yet. Sucks. It's 2 mana hungry.
Yeah.
5 casting costs for a 2/2 that you have to pay 4 mana for to generate a 1/1. Just
either the casting cost or the activation cost has to be a lot smaller.
I saw this gather a comment. I was like, this sounds about right for a deck with Boris Devilboon. If you're playing Boris, you don't care about win conditions. Back in 2009, Laurel said, my friend used to run a deck with this guy in it. He loved making weird tokens. He ran Breeding Pit and other generation effects. I don't remember what his win condition was, though. Probably didn't have a win condition. Just wanted to run Boris Devilboon. Next old frame zombie commander. Potential zombie commander. Because it's a legend. We're getting into something that's a little bit more playable now. Bladewing the Risen. This is a rare from Scourge and some other sets. 3 colorless, 2 black, 2 red is the casting cost. Summon Zombie Dragon. It's 4/4. It has flying. When Bladewing the Risen comes into play, you may return target dragon card from your graveyard to play. Pay 1 black, 1 red. All dragons get +1/+1 until end of turn. Rating of 4.028 on Gatherer. Market price $2.42. I'm kind of cheating a little bit. It is a zombie, but you really don't play this as your commander in a zombie deck. You play it in a dragon
deck.
Really.
Okay.
But
well,
I wanted to
I could see
throw
like
it
a
in there.
dragon zombie deck,
I know. I'm wondering, are there more dragon zombies? I don't know. Zombie dragons. I don't know. Still like them. I like zombies and dragons. So what the hell?
Yeah.
Next, old frame zombie commander. A card that I didn't realize was a zombie back in the day, but I should have. You just look at him. I mean, he didn't say summon zombie. He just said summon legend. But it's always a zombie.
Yeah.
Lord of Treasurehorn.
Yeah. I like this guy. I have one of him from back in a Alliance pack.
Yeah, and like I never played with this guy, but I kind of want to make a deck built around him. One colorless, one blue, one black, one red. Summon legend 10-4. When Lord of Treasurehorn comes into play, pay 2 life and sacrifice 2 creatures, and target opponent draws 2 cards. That's wild.
Yeah.
Effects that prevent or redirect damage cannot be used to counter this loss of life. Pay 1 black and regenerate. So that's a wild enter the battlefield costs. But you do get a 10-4 regenerator for 4 mana.
Yeah. The target opponent draws 2 cards is the worst part. The rest of it you could pretty easily deal with playing like a black deck, play some small creatures to sacrifice. You don't care about 2 life. So once you get this guy down, he can do some work.
Yeah.
But I put him immediately into a deck when I got this card back in the day. I was like, this is so cool. I got to try to, make this work. And I don't think I did it for very long, but I think I just, was like, I gave up, But I would try it again. And especially now that Commander is so popular, like this would be fun to play in Commander.
One, it's a good color combo.
Yeah.
Black, blue, red.
Mm-hmm.
Just a powerful color combo. And this guy's a zombie. You don't need to put him in a zombie specific commander deck, but you could also find lots of zombies there in a blue, black, red. There are actually some black, red zombies. And there's one, I think, pre-modern blue zombie.
Okay.
You can make it happen.
Black, blue, red is a great color combo for like what am I trying to say? Like your Black Vice, Phyrexian Tyranny, Underworld Dream style kind of decks. So the fact that your opponent draws 2 cards in that situation might be a little bit better for you.
Them.
And as a commander, like I just love that he's already low casting cost. So if you have to bring him back, you're not paying too much. And he has regenerate, so he's hard to get rid of, to begin with. So it's just he's probably going to be out on the board a lot. You're going to be able to bring him back, keep casting him.
Yeah, low casting cost 10-4, and we're talking about a format here in Commander where commander damage is a thing. And I don't usually think about this when I build decks, but if you're trying to build a deck that's designed to win by commander damage, this is a good thing to run with.
Maybe a few cards that could like give him flying or trample,
Or fling him.
Yeah, fling. That'd be sweet.
Which is in red.
Land walk. Cool.
Yeah, so
yeah, I'll definitely play with this guy in Commander at some point.
Cool opportunities here. And one more, and then that's the end of the shoe.
10-4 also is such a unique power toughness ratio. Like, just an unusual. I don't know. I like that, especially in Legends. You pull some like legendary creature, and it has like a wild, crazy, like 2 different numbers that you just don't see a lot.
This is everything a summon legend should be.
Yeah,
they should be wild and crazy. They should be out there. They should be unusual. When you pull a big legend from a set, from a pack, it shouldn't be like the other things you saw from in the pack, in the set. Good job. Good job, people. You know who I'm talking about. You people who designed Lord of Treasurehorn. Last old frame zombie commander that I want to talk about. Again, not necessarily something you would run in a zombie specific deck. It just happens to be a zombie. Balthor the Defiled. Rare from Judgment, 2 colorless, 2 black. Summon Zombie Dwarf Legend. It's 2/2. All minions get +1/+1. I actually don't know of any minions in Magic the Gathering yet. They obviously
I only know 1, I think.
They must exist, or this card wouldn't exist, but
Minion of the Wastes, which is a card I like.
Okay.
But Also, probably not exactly what you want to be trying to, like, it's not exactly the sort of creature you're trying to give +1/+1 to.
Yeah, okay. 3 black, you can pay 3 back, remove Balthor to defile from the game. Each player returns all black and red creature cards from his or her graveyard to play. It has a rating of 3.974 on Gatherer, current market price of $13.06. First, I said, very surprised by this price. What are so many people playing Balthor for? Because dwarf decks, minion decks. But if you just forget about everything else, forget about the fact that it's a zombie, forget about the fact that it's a dwarf, forget about the fact that it pumps minions. The second ability on its own is a game changer in many situations. So you can forget about all the additional flavor built into this card and just look at that one ability. And that's got to be the answer as to why it's expensive. But it wasn't expensive. It spiked like in 2019.
Yeah, wow.
But still, regardless, forget about the price chart. Just look at the, let's pretend like this was a stock. Forget about the price chart, Alex. Look at the fundamentals. Let's examine the fundamentals of Balthor. That second ability, that's a hell of a fundamental, man.
Yeah, you're right. It's definitely that second ability is what like caught my eye. And I like that, it's black and red. So you can do, since it's red, you can do haste creatures fairly easily with this. Like imagine using this guy in a ball lightning deck.
Yeah. You can't do that in commander if this guy's, well, no, I don't know what I'm saying that. He just can't be your commander if you want to also run red.
Yeah, if you want to.
But he could still be in your black-red commander deck.
And that's fine, because like you probably want this guy later in the game anyways.
Yeah, very cool card. I feel like I should play Balthor at some point just because he's a zombie dwarf legend.
Yeah, I don't play with this. Again, like with things like Avatar of Woe that you can tap for effects. I keep thinking I keep thinking some of these cards are also giving haste to creatures, but they're not.
They're not. They're not all Goblin War Chief, Alex. Yeah. Before we wrap up, what was the one minion that you said you knew? I want to look up a
Minion of the Wastes. This is a nasty card.
Oh, you know what? Aren't there minions in like fucking Fallen Empires too? Yes. There's all these weird minions. Minion of
Leshrac was one.
Minion of Leshrac. Okay.
I just remember that.
Let me look up Minion of the Wastes. Ah, this art. Fucking love it.
Yeah, this is cool.
3 colorless, 3 black, star, trample. When you play Minion of the Waste, pay an amount of life. Minion of the Waste has power and toughness, each equal to the amount +1/+1 if you got your Balthor out.
Yeah.
So, okay, I see what you meant when you're like, it's not really, it's a cool card, but not really something that I gotta have my Balthor out when I play this minion.
Yeah.
Minion keeper deck where you play out your minion and you pay some amount of life to bring your life total below your opponent's, and then you tap your keeper of light.
Oh, okay.
Gain 3 life.
Yeah.
Yeah, but all these minions are wonky as hell. I don't remember everything that the minions in Fallen Empires did, but I remember them being like very difficult to play. And I never played any of them.
Tevesh Sat, I remember that one too.
Sorry, I'm saying Fallen Empires. Ice Age. Minion of Leshrac.
Yeah, I remember him.
4 colorless, 3 black, 5/5. A demon, but it must also be a minion. This is minion in the
demon minion now.
Pro black, during your upkeep, sacrifice a creature or minion of Leshrac deals 5 damage to you. If a minion of Leshrac deals damage to you in this way, tap it. You cannot sacrifice a minion of Leshrac to itself. Tap to destroy target creature or land.
Okay, so this guy's like a kind of like a demonic horde, like a even nastier demonic hordes.
Yeah. Anyways, Alex, I think that brings us to the end of episode 63, unless there's anything you wanted to talk about.
I think we did it.
I think we did it too. We went through the zombie A team. We discussed some interesting old frame zombies that you might want to run as your commanders or run in a commandor deck, not commandor deck, commander. You know what I meant.
I know. Commandor's fine.
I wasn't talking to you specifically when I said, you know what I meant like that. I wasn't like attacking you. I was talking to the listeners who might be sitting there with their headphones in, like laughing because I said commandor. You know what I meant. It's hard. It's hard talking for like
It's hard talking
2 hours in a row. It's hard for me to talk for 5 minutes. I just did like an hour and a half, 2 hours of a podcast. I think I did a pretty good job. It's late. I worked all day. I came home. I ate some snacks. I drank some cold brew nitro, but still low energy, even after cold brew nitro. Caffeine can only do so much. You know, you get to a point where you're tired and weak.
Yeah.
And you start putting more caffeine into your veins, and then it just makes you jittery, but it doesn't really wake you up.
Yeah.
Like your eyes still feel sunken and stuff. Your brain feels hollow. You start to get head pains and you're just shaking. That's where I'm at right now. So I think it's time to wrap up episode 63. I hope you join us for episode 64 because we have more zombies to talk about. We're going to talk about some non-zombie stuff too, but still more zombies. I'm going to try to get that one out. Next Wednesday would be November 1st after Halloween.
Oh. Should
we post the next one after Halloween or try to get it out on Halloween or before? Who knows?
Try.
Depends what kind of mood I'm in. Depends how tired I am from work. That would be maybe fun to get it out on Halloween. Who knows? Thank you for listening this long. That one person who's out there, you're one person probably made it this long. Maybe zero people.
But they learned about Minion of Leshrac. So
that's what happens if you stick around the Old Men Magic podcast. You get to hear us talk about some Ice Age card that nobody plays that you can pick up for 58 cents. Probably even cheaper if you just go to your local store looking like the 10-cent bin. There's probably a bunch of these laying around. Alex, you have any words of wisdom before we shut this shit down? No.
Get some sleep.
That's a good one, Alex. Stay hydrated. Get 8 hours of sleep. Talk to you next week.
Later.